There is a version of you that exists beyond clocks, beyond distance, beyond the constant movement of life. A version of you that isn't rushing, isn't chasing, isn't limited. Most people live trapped inside time, counting minutes, measuring progress, fearing the future. But what if time itself is not your master? What if space is not your boundary and motion is not your truth? What you are about to hear is not just an idea, it's an invitation. An invitation to step beyond the illusion and awaken to a deeper, more powerful reality that has always been within you. Most people grow up believing they are confined by the rules of the physical world. That time dictates their opportunities, that space defines their reach, and that movement determines their progress. This belief quietly shapes every decision, creating an invisible boundary around what they think is possible. But this limitation is not absolute, it is learned. The truth is that what you are at your core is not the body that occupies space or the mind that tracks time. Your deeper identity is awareness itself, something that is not restricted by distance or duration. Think about how your mind can instantly travel to a memory from years ago or imagine a future that hasn't happened yet. In that moment, you are not bound by time in the way you were taught. Or consider how you can emotionally connect with someone far away, feeling their presence without physically being near them. These experiences are subtle reminders that your essence operates beyond physical constraints. The body exists within time and space, but your consciousness observes it from a higher level. When you begin to understand this, your perspective shifts. You stop seeing limitations as fixed barriers and start recognizing them as temporary conditions. This awareness doesn't mean you ignore reality, but rather that you engage with it differently, with less fear and more clarity. You begin to realize that possibilities are not as restricted as they once seemed, and that much of what holds you back is rooted in perception rather than truth. The more you detach from the belief that you are only a physical being, the more freedom you experience in how you think, feel, and act. And that shift alone opens doors that once felt permanently closed. Most people trust only what they can see, hear, and touch, believing that their senses define reality. But your senses are limited. They capture only a small fraction of what truly exists. Consciousness, however, goes far beyond these boundaries. It is the part of you that observes thoughts, interprets experiences, and gives meaning to everything around you. Without consciousness, nothing you see would have significance. This means your awareness is not just reacting to reality, it is participating in shaping how reality appears to you. Think about how two people can experience the same situation in completely different ways. One sees opportunity, the other sees fear. The external event is the same, but their inner awareness creates two different realities. This shows that perception is not fixed. It is fluid and influenced by your state of consciousness. When your awareness is clouded by fear, doubt, or distraction, your reality feels limited and heavy. But when your consciousness becomes clear, calm, and expanded, your perception shifts and new possibilities begin to emerge. This is because consciousness is not confined to the physical world. It has the ability to rise above immediate circumstances and access deeper insight. Moments of intuition, creativity, or deep clarity are glimpses of this higher awareness. They don't come from external sources, but from within you, beyond the noise of the mind. As you begin to trust and cultivate this level of consciousness, you realize that reality is not something you passively experience, but something you actively interpret and influence. The more aware you become, the less controlled you are by external conditions, and the more you begin to experience life from a place of inner power and understanding that goes beyond what the senses alone can perceive. Most people are constantly in motion, not just physically, but mentally, jumping from one thought to another, replaying the past, anticipating the future, and rarely experiencing the present moment as it is. This constant activity creates noise, and within that noise, clarity becomes impossible. The mind convinces you that thinking more will bring answers, but in reality, it often pulls you further away from them. Stillness is not the absence of activity. It is the presence of awareness without disturbance. It is the moment when your thoughts slow down enough for you to observe them instead of being controlled by them. In that state, something powerful happens. You begin to see beyond the surface of your experiences and access a deeper level of understanding. When the mind is quiet, it no longer filters reality through fear, assumptions, or past conditioning. Instead, it allows you to perceive things as they truly are. This is why some of the most profound insights come in moments of silence, not in moments of overthinking. Stillness creates space, and in that space, your awareness expands. Time feels less urgent, problems feel less overwhelming, and your sense of identity begins to shift from doing to being. You realize that you don't need constant movement to grow or evolve. In fact, growth often happens when you pause long enough to reconnect with yourself. The more you practice stillness, the more you detach from the illusion that everything must be solved through action. Instead, you begin to trust that clarity arises naturally when you stop forcing it. And in that clarity, you access a higher perception of reality that is always present, but often overlooked in the noise of constant mental motion. Most people spend their lives searching for something they believe is outside of them: success, peace, purpose, or truth. thinking that one day they will finally arrive at a place where everything makes sense. This constant search creates the illusion that what they're looking for is distant, hidden somewhere in the future, or in circumstances they have yet to reach. But the deeper truth is that what you are seeking has never been outside of you. It has always been within, quietly present beneath the noise of your thoughts, fears, and expectations. The reason it feels hidden is not because it is far away, but because your attention is constantly directed outward. You are taught to measure your life by external achievements, validation, and outcomes, which keeps you disconnected from your inner reality. Yet, there are moments, brief but powerful, when you feel a sense of clarity, peace, or deep knowing without any external reason. In those moments, nothing has changed around you, but something has shifted within you. That shift is a glimpse of your true reality. It is not something you created in that moment. It is something you allowed yourself to notice. Your true reality is not defined by circumstances, but by the awareness that experiences them. When you begin to turn inward, not in isolation, but in understanding, you start to reconnect with that deeper presence. You realize that clarity does not need to be chased, and peace does not need to be earned. They are natural states that emerge when you stop looking outside for what already exists within. The more you recognize this, the less dependent you become on external conditions, and the more grounded you feel in a truth that is stable, constant, and always accessible regardless of what is happening around you. Most people believe that in order to grow, succeed, or gain control over their lives, they must hold on tightly to plans, expectations, identities, and outcomes. They think that the more they control, the more secure they become. But in reality, this constant gripping creates resistance. It keeps them locked into a narrow version of life, where everything must happen a certain way to feel right. Letting go is often misunderstood as giving up, but it is actually the opposite. It is the conscious decision to release the need to control what is beyond your power so you can fully access what is within it. When you let go of rigid expectations, you create space for possibilities that you could not have predicted. When you release attachment to a specific outcome, you become open to outcomes that may be even more aligned with your growth. This does not mean you stop taking action or caring about your goals. It means you stop forcing life to fit into a limited framework. There is a natural intelligence in life that operates beyond your personal plans, constantly organizing, adjusting, and guiding in ways you may not immediately understand. When you resist it, you create tension and frustration. But when you allow it, you begin to move with it rather than against it. This shift brings a sense of ease and flow, where things start to unfold more naturally. You begin to trust that not everything needs to be controlled to work out. In that trust, your awareness expands, and you start to experience life with less fear and more openness. The more you let go, the less confined you feel by limitations, and the more you step into a reality that is not restricted by your past beliefs or expectations, but shaped by a deeper connection to what is possible